Hi, folks. Welcome back to Indaba Africa. This is Chris coming to you once again from central Pennsylvania, where this evening I'm reflecting on events that will be occurring this Friday, the 20th of November, 2020, at Brackenfell, the school in the Western Cape, just to the east of Cape Town. Of course, those following events there know famously that this is the place where a matric, not a matric, but a prom equivalent sort of exam party was supposed to be held. The school canceled the equivalent of the prom there, and students held a private party on their own. The press got a hold of the information and claimed that it was a racist party because black students were excluded without having actually interviewed any black students and asked if they've ever been invited and whether they decided to go or not. But they turned this into a so-called racist incident, which the EFF decided to, of course, being the race merchants and bigots and hate-filled, sad, pathetic individuals that they are, decided to take this and not let any opportunity to picture or paint or draw white South Africans as racist, because we all know that's what the Western press believes, and used this opportunity to their advantage, did exactly that. Of course, they descended upon Brackenfell, came with a small group of people who really weren't particularly well organized, but still caused problems through rocks at parents who showed up in an impromptu fashion. This led to parents chasing after folks. And of course, we've seen the images which have been shown in the UK Sun and other Western outlets which show white South Africans beating black South Africans with bats. In one instance, attacking, pushing them to the ground, slugging them. Not particularly good images to see. Folks, I warned folks about going to Brackenfell and protesting. And I was greeted with some of my subscribers and viewers of my channel with disdain for my advice. And they said, well, a line is drawn here. A line must be drawn in the sand. This is it. How long must we take this? Well, who is we and what exactly are you talking about? We're talking about a group of angry parents who descended on the school to chase away EFF. And what did that get us? A massive public relations disaster. So now lots of people in the United Kingdom and other parts of the world actually now believe that white South Africans are in fact in their heart of hearts racist. Why? Because people foolishly played exactly into what the EFF was looking for. They threw rocks intentionally. Of course, none of those videos and none of those photos showed up. Even today on my channel, I heard people once again defending what was happening, saying, well, people in their true hearts know what really happened. No, they don't. They don't. Just like the tens of millions of idiots who pulled the lever for Joe Biden because they're terrified of a virus. Yet they're not terrified of influenza, and they spread it like frickin' syphilis every year, or chlamydia. Not terrified of that. Why not? Look at the death rates from influenza. Not much different than from COVID-19, slightly lower. Look at the death rates from many other diseases and many other causes of mortality in this country. Not frightened of any of those things. A lot of these people have no problem, no compunction about drinking a couple tipple in the bar or restaurant and getting behind the wheel of a death machine and killing others or themselves, wrapping their car around a pole. But over this, because politicians have lied to us repeatedly, including Dr. Fauci and others who've lied to us endlessly about this virus, and they have no concept whatsoever about how to fight a virus and how to handle a pandemic, despite the fact we have millennia of human history and experience to show exactly what to do. Protect the vulnerable. Yes, anyway. So, folks, my advice for Brackenfell. As I've told the school, they never should have had the students there. They knew this demonstration was coming. They should have simply relocated the students elsewhere or called off school that day. Now, someone will say, yeah, but you can't keep calling school off. No, you can't. But if you had dealt with this properly from the beginning, it would have disappeared. The EFF would have shown up and would have been throwing rocks in an empty schoolyard, and they would have been caught on camera. And there would have been no pictures of whites beating blacks up in the street. The students would have been safe. They would have been conducting their exams elsewhere, or they would have conducted their exams after this ended. Now we've had 2 appearances at Brackenfell and a third one scheduled for this Friday, the 20th of November. There will be white South Africans and colored South Africans and black South Africans who have kids at the school, and outsiders coming in from around the country to stick their nose into the business of Brackenfell. Do you see what's happening here, folks? A minor situation that should have been a nothing burger in the news story is now going to develop into a race war. Will it be a race war? No, it won't be a race war. But that's how it will be depicted in the international media. And you will give a victory to the race merchants at the economic freedom fighters. Exactly what they want. And of course, the African National Congress has no problem allowing this to happen. Now, a lot of South Africans are angry. Why is the ANC doing something about the EFF? I mean, after all, their leader, Julius Malema, called for attacking Click stores, and 44 stores were attacked, including one was petrol, firebombed with a Molotov cocktail. looted, stores damaged, people trying to get their life-saving medications denied access to store by thugs in uniform wearing red berets of the economic freedom fighters. Then we see Julius Malema show up in Senegal on the 16th of October and urging his people to murder white farmers, which happens in spades after the 7 additional deaths in the Free State alone in the month after that occurred. And then in addition to that, the third in control of his party, urging his supporters, first in Zulu, switching over to English to make sure we all understood, to burn the Boer down, burn them out, burn them down. Yeah, and then magically within 48 hours, hundreds of thousands of hectares, hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland in the Northern Free State, Northern Cape are lit by arsonists in the middle of the night. And the government tries to cover it up by pretending that it's a service delivery protest. At 4 a.m. when there's a curfew in the middle of the countryside where there's no one, no media, no crowds present, see anybody protesting. What a bunch of manure. Yeah, so the African National Congress is perfectly happy to let the EFF do this because the EFF keeps getting them the moments they want to show that the whites are simply whining racist and bigots and hate black people. And of course, none of that's true. But that's what the press sees. Stop playing into their hands. Stop acting like rookies. There are groups who are going to show up on Friday, and if that event does take place, I intend to cover the event live and see what happens. But I urge all the parents to stay away from Brackenfell. If the school hasn't already canceled classes and made exams on that day, then they should, or they should simply move it to a different venue and do it discreetly and quietly. Let these idiots show up and toy with no one there. There's nothing they can do other than damage property. And if they're going to damage property, you can have security forces inside the compound and they can surge out and deal with this if the police refuse to do their job. But folks, it's a trap. Ronaldo Khos said it very well on his channel. It's a trap. Admiral Akbar, it's a trap. It's a trap. It is. Star Wars. That was the line, folks. It's a trap. And yet another trap, which people will walk so willingly into. I advise you, use discretion. Brackenfell is not your friend on Friday. It is a potentially volatile situation that is likely to get people injured, if not killed, and could lead to horrific sanctions and actions against South Africans, particularly minorities. Don't give the EFF what they want. Remember when they did the Josie to Stellenbosch march? Ooh, we're going to march to Stellenbosch and stop all the racists. They missed the point that 2/3 of the people that live in Stellenbosch are colored. They're people of color. They're not whites. And only 17% of the population in the Western Cape is actually white, you morons. But they're going to march from Josie to Stellenbosch and show all those racists in the vineyards. The few dozens of people that showed up were the laughing stock of the world. And the EFF lost traction for a month because of that. Remember that? Josie to Stellenbosch march. You've all forgotten that. I didn't forget it. And you shouldn't forget it. Don't give them oxygen. It just inflames the fire. And it is not cowardly or callow or backing down to simply not show up to a street brawl. Showing up to a street brawl is not a particularly intelligent idea, ladies and gentlemen. It's best to stay out of them. Because how many of you actually planned egress routes, aid stations, medics, communications that can't be jammed, drones flying overhead so you can make movement? You have no idea what you're doing, you keyboard warriors. You have no concept of security. And you're going to get people injured and killed. And that's bad enough. But strategically, what's even worse are the images that people see around the world. And the ANC will gladly allow it to continue. And if they have the opportunity, they will arrest white South Africans in particular for inciting violence, to criminalize you so you cannot get employment, so you cannot emigrate abroad, so they can persecute you. So don't allow them. Don't give them the fuel. If you want to fight with the EFF, there are better ways to fight the EFF. Metaphorically and physically. Not showing up at Brackenfell's is the smartest move. At Brackenfell is the smartest move. So there you go, folks. That's my advice. Some people won't like it. That's fine. You're welcome to disagree with me. I can disagree with you. If you don't like my channel because of it, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm actually a person who grew up around violence, a person who's lived through all sorts of violence, seen horrific things, and also served in combat multiple times. So unlike the keyboard warriors who are just angry and ready to start something, I've seen the world for what it is. And you need to have much better planning and you have much better concept of what you're doing before you rush into conflict. Well, folks, if you're not a subscriber to Chris White Africa, I ask you to take a moment to become a subscriber by splashing that subscription button. Be sure to toggle the bell icon to get notified of updates, my live streams, interviews, and prepared videos like this. And finally, I ask you to smash the like button because likes drive viewership. Thank you for your support and your patronage. God bless. And let's not give EFF what they want on Friday the 20th of November.